winning at the weekend, once again impressing, winning 3-0 away against Alaves, and how Robert Lewandowski has been reinvented once again under Hansi Flick. Xavi wanted him out in the summer if he was still in charge. Xavi goes, Lewandowski now has found that sort of form where he was so great, of course, under Flick at Bayern Munich. And what's interesting when you take a look at these goals, Nedum, that we saw Lewandowski scoring, he's on your shoulder as a centre-back on every single one. His timing is absolutely perfect when it comes to staying onside. I'm just wondering, as a defender, who does that remind you of that you came up against, and how do you try and combat it?
In terms of people it reminds me of Sergio Aguero. The amount of times when you would see that 1 minute people believe they have him, the next minute he's got to tap in at the far post, for example. And these are both prolific goal scorers. And their link-up play, we can say it's good, but it's their ability to find space when it matters most. So, because as a defender, at some stage, you have to look elsewhere. You have to have a focus on the ball, try and figure out what you're going to do. And you need the support of those around you. But Lewandowski is one of the best to do it. Pazzini as well, in terms of the way that he moved, Aguero, and some of the best goal scorers that we've seen in our lifetimes. They're all magnificent at it. Their ability to sense the right time to make the run, the speed to make it, the positions to put themselves into. I think at times defending it's a thankless task because you can make something as hard as you can, but the best will always find a way, and Lewandowski certainly is one of those.
And let's not forget, Mario, Lewandowski at 36 years of age is still torturing defenders as he has done all of his career. How do you try and deal with it? Because they know it's going to happen. They're aware of what he does, but don't seem to be able to stop it.
Yeah, but that's the hardest part. He's the player that when you think you got him, sometimes he gets to life, It's like, you're close to him and you think, oh, today I'm having a great game. And then after 20 minutes, boom, it's a goal. And I think the thing with him, with a player like him, first of all, he likes competition in the sense of like when people have their doubts, he will turn up and score for you. But just his mindset of thinking, strikers get 1 or 2 opportunities and they got to be the fastest thinkers on the whole field. And he has some thinking. Oh my God, those goals, quickly, comfortable, the touches and the way he moved the ball really quickly. It makes so much sense, but Rafinha is the key. I said it last time, Rafinha is the key for him, and it gives him more time and space to run into the right direction.
Absolutely. Rafinha and Lewandowski have built this incredible bond that we've seen this season, Stevie. From a coaching point of view, how do you get your defenders to stop Lewandowski?
Well, you've got to start in the middle of the park because you've got to stop the service.
Right.
If you stop the service, then you're limiting the opportunities that people like Lewandowski get. And the other key is get outside the box. Don't be in the box. Don't go too deep in the box because this guy comes alive in the penalty box. He's got an instinct. He's got a desire. He knows his way around it.
So what do you mean by that? Just explain that a little bit more.
Well, don't drop inside your penalty box.
I say as a defender.
Try and stay outside the penalty box because at the very least, if he gets it outside the box, he's probably going to have more than 1 touch. Because in the penalty box, he only needs 1.
Yeah.
So at least you give yourself an opportunity to try and get close to him, to try and block it, to try and stop him in some way. Because if you go deep in the box, well, you'll lose him for the start, and then all you're doing is picking the ball at the back of the net because it's too good.
The contrast of Lewandowski between this season and last season, I think, is best illustrated by the 3rd goal against Alaves. We were never asking Lewandowski to go and make runs out in wide areas or get out in the channel or get in behind. But what we were asking of Lewandowski last season, that it wasn't happening regularly, whatever the reasons may have been, whether it was lack of confidence, lack of fitness, he didn't feel like he was wanted or loved by the manager, who knows what the reasons were. But we were not seeing the little diagonal movements from the top of the 18-yard box into the 18-yard box, off of the shoulder of the defender that you were just mentioning. That little movement, the reading of the timing, of the space, that's where the instinct kicks in. The moment that the attacking player receives the ball, he's already thought where his move is going to be, and because of his movement, he now demands the ball to be played into a certain space, which makes that next ball coming in, and this 3rd goal was from Eric Garcia, the pass, it paints a very clear picture for you. He's making the move for you. You just have to hit that splitting pass, and he's going to be in there. And to the point that Stevie was making is that most of his goals are 1 touch. Yes, but because he's willing to make those movements that he wasn't making last season. Look, the truth of the matter is that Xavi was on the verge of leaving Lewandowski for dead.
Yes.
That was the rhetoric, almost as if this guy's done. And not just Xavi, a lot of the Barcelona fans as well, as the season was coming to an end last year, every time he touched the ball and lost the ball,
he was one of the fall guys, wasn't he?
Yeah, so was Rafinha, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah? Now Rafinha's wearing a captain's armband. So let's not get crazy and say we knew this all along. A lot of the Barcelona fans were saying, Lewandowski, we're done with this guy. And Rafinha, if you can just move out of the way so that Nico Williams can come to this team, that was part of the rhetoric. Now both of these guys are delivering at a high level.
And what epitomises how well they're doing, of course, is when you take a look at La Liga table, 3 points clear of Real Madrid, having just lost that one game against Osasuna, of course, as we go into the international break. For Real Madrid, it was a good win against Villarreal, but obviously it came at a cost. We saw Vinicius Jr., he will miss international break because of a neck injury, but of course, more importantly, Dani Carvajal out for the season with an ACL injury. As you welcome in Julien Laurens. Jules, I suppose the obvious question is, how much will Real Madrid look to replace Carvajal in January, or will they try and make do with the likes of Lucas Vázquez?
I think they will make do for now, certainly, with Lucas Vázquez. I think Eder Militao can play a right back, Ferland Mendy can play a right back. He even played right back for France a couple of times, and then you can have Fran Garcia as your left back, or maybe even Camavinga as your left back. So you've got other options, really, that are not ideal, but you've got other options. I think January could not come soon enough, though, for Real Madrid to replace Carvajal. I mean, to just sign a defender maybe a bit versatile that can play maybe centre-half and right back as well, or just a pure right back. It's 6 years, I think, since Real Madrid last signed a player in January. They never signed anyone in January, ever. But I think this time the urgency is there.
I remember when they signed Julien Faubert in January when I was there, Jules, your fellow countryman who was famous for falling asleep on the bench. That's what he did during his loan spell from West Ham. Meanwhile, what the heck is going on with Kylian Mbappe, Jules? This, of course, a player who is not going to represent France in this international break, citing that he was injured, but of course came on in the Champions League and then started at the weekend against Villarreal.
Yeah, this is another massive story in France, developing every day, because now everybody is obviously giving their thought, ex-players, pundits, ex-international, ex-captain, fans, everything you want. Basically, on Thursday morning, Wednesday night, after the Lille-Real Madrid game, Didier Deschamps spoke to Kylian Mbappe about his fitness and how he felt. Mbappe said that he still needed some more treatment, that he was not fit, not fully fit, that he did play 25 minutes against Lille, but that he didn't feel right. So Deschamps said, okay, so I'm going to leave you home. I'm not going to call you back on Thursday morning, was the announcement of the squad. He said, I'm not going to call you up for the national team. You can stay in Madrid, rest, and have all the treatment you want, and get fit again. Deschamps didn't know that 2 days later, Kylian Mbappe would start for Real Madrid, play 70 minutes against Villarreal at the Bernabeu, and obviously not showing up on Monday morning at Clairefontaine with the national team. So you can imagine back home where we thought Mbappe was injured, that's why he was not called up by Deschamps for France, and that suddenly there was clearly no injuries, otherwise he would not have been able to play against Villarreal. So Deschamps today tried to minimize everything by saying, listen, clubs are paying for the players. It's normal that clubs have, in a way, the final say that players have to think about their club first, maybe before the national team. Try to minimize it. I think he's made it worse because now everybody is talking again about the old debate about club v country. Remember Arsene Wenger, etc. All of that very much now on. And people are saying that Kylian basically does what he wants and what he wishes. If he doesn't fancy going with the national team, he says he's injured. He's not actually injured. He plays with Real Madrid and then still stays at home. So, yeah, it's a massive, massive controversy right now.
My question to you, Jules, was going to be, how did he think he was going to get away with it? But clearly, he doesn't care.
I don't know. I can't believe that the French national team captain and arguably the best player in the world does not care about his country. I don't think that's true.
No, but what he doesn't care about is people talking about him with in this narrative, basically saying, look, he's choosing at the moment Real Madrid over France. It seems a very strange thing to tackle when it wasn't necessarily something that needed to be public. Just after the game on Saturday, just say, look, I can't make it, I've picked up a knock.
Yeah, I think there's certainly other ways to do it. And we've seen in the last few days, few hours, loads of players pulling out of the national team. Garnacho, Vinicius, Militao, some are probably injured. Havertz, Garnacho, some I think have little injuries. Mazraoui is another one. I'm not sure if all of them are properly injured for the long term, for example. So we've seen it before. The boys have done it. There's times where if you're not 100%, a hectic time of the season, maybe you feel like, you know what, it's better for me if I don't go with the national team and stay and have the treatment and the rehab or training with my club. Well, I don't know. I think there was definitely a better way for Mbappe and Deschamps to do it, because Deschamps, in a way, call him up, and then you know that on Sunday he can say, actually, I don't feel right, coach, I'm not going to come and
George, you
replace
can't
him
blame
with somebody
Deschamps for
else.
this. You can't. I know you've got your issues with Deschamps, but you can't blame him for this.
No, but I think the communication was wrong. I mean, clearly, Dan, either Kylian said to Deschamps, listen, I'm not fit, I can't play, don't call me up. Yes. And then he did Deschamps dirty then by playing against Villarreal for 70 minutes, right? It's either that, or Deschamps just said, listen, I know you're not fully fit, 100% fit, so stay with Real Madrid. I don't know if Deschamps knew about the Villarreal game or not, but then maybe in Deschamps' communication, he didn't express it in the right way, because he really felt, the way Deschamps said it, it felt like, listen, Mbappe can't play football right now. He's injured, he can't play. So imagine the surprise then to see him 2 days later playing 70 minutes in La Liga.